If you're interested in seeing a volcano erupting and shooting columns of smoke for kilometers, white beaches, blue waters, and amazing places, then stop right here because this is the video for you. After 8 years of living on a boat, we've seen some truly incredible places, but first, good morning and welcome to the Dimit Studio by Valila. We're almost ready for the summer season, and I always get a ton of questions about where to go and what to do to spend a vacation on a boat, between anchoring and sailing. Let me tell you right away that all of Italy is beautiful and worth visiting, especially by boat, so in this top 5 ranking, there's a lot of my direct experience. However, I can say that in all the places where I stopped, I had a great time, mainly thanks to the people I met and then the experiences I had. So go out, explore, and share your experiences in the comments. One very important thing, UNESCO is an academy, a free service for enthusiasts but also for anyone who wants to get into boating in general. So if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. This way, you'll stay updated on every new release and you'll also help us keep our already large community active. I tried to rank these 5 locations based on 4 key aspects: the area, the beauty of the sea, the available services, and the quality of the anchorages. And so, after considering many beautiful places where I sailed, here's my top 5 of must-see locations in Italy by boat. If you've been following me for a while, you know that Elba Island is the place where I decided to keep Valila for my winter stops, and it's the island I most consider home here in Italy. As you may have already seen, the advantages of living on such a wonderful island are many. We're very close to the mainland, there are schools, hospitals, and all the services you would expect to find, as well as some stunning anchorages. Be careful, because you might just leave your heart on Elba. Elba is a happy island because it's sheltered by Corsica, and very often storms and bad weather tend to avoid it, making it a perfect destination if you're leaving from Liguria, Tuscany, or Lazio. My favorite anchorage here is definitely the Ticcio Beach, right behind Infola, but watch out for the Mistral wind because it tends to hit hard there. I also love staying at Porto Azzurro, both at anchor and in the marina. The bay tends to get a bit crowded in the summer, but from there you can reach lots of smaller anchorages. In case of bad weather, the best anchorage is definitely Portoferraio, which has one of the most sheltered bays in the world. Go ashore to visit Portoferraio because it's really worth it. There are fortresses, historic villas, museums, and plenty of little spots to hang out in the evening. And then there's nature, hiking, water sports, amazing free diving, and on that note, remember to check out our videos made with Francesco Senna on how to start holding your breath safely. If you're on a boat with kids, Elba Island is perfect because you'll have access to beaches with yellow, white, and black sand, white pebbles, and rocks you can dive from. The waters are truly spectacular and there are so many anchorages to choose from. If it's windy on one side, you just need to move and in a couple of hours you'll reach a sheltered spot on the opposite side. During the summer, Elba Island gets very busy, so make sure to call the marina a few days in advance if you want to dock. Also, for nature lovers, there are plenty of excursions both by boat and on foot. We set off from Palinuro heading for the Aeolian Islands, Stromboli, on a windless night, motoring over calm seas until we reach the island, which greets us with nothing less than a full-blown eruption. Later, they'll tell us it was the strongest paroxysm of Itu, the name they use for the volcano, in recent years. So, the sirens go off, there's a tsunami warning, and we set off for Panarea. Then we drop anchor just past the headland that separates the roadstead from the port. A word about the ports in the Aeolian Islands: be careful of the endless stream of hydrofoils and ferries that ply these waters, especially during the summer. Right in front of Panarea, you'll see Lisca Bianca on the plotter. It's a hot spring right in the middle of the sea. From there, we set off and sailed to Volcano, a wonderful island. We spent 2 weeks exploring it far and wide, eventually making it up to the top of the volcano. Go early in the morning, because during the day the temperature goes over 50 degrees. First stop on the east side at the Volcano Marina, and then at anchor at the Spiaggia della Calda, called it because the water is warm. Another must-see stop is on the west side at Baia Negra. Try to anchor in the center, because around and near the beach there are many rocks. Take a swim at sunset and you'll experience one of the most incredible feelings of your life. It feels like diving into a sci-fi movie. Black rocks, a really strange greenish color that's hard to describe. In short, it's a must-do. And then enjoy the sunset straight over Alicudi and Filicudi. From here, you also have a view of the Lipari sea stacks right in front of you, truly unique. If you need to refuel, you can move to the anchorage at Lipari, where you'll find a marina and a fuel station. I spent a few days at anchor at the Spiaggia del Pamasai, just above Canito. Wonderful water and a few caves to explore. Will we come back to continue our tour? Absolutely yes. The Aeolian Islands offer a unique sailing experience, with breathtaking landscapes and often favorable wind conditions. However, you need to plan your anchorages carefully because some areas can get crowded during high season and the seabed is often very deep, so let out plenty of scope. Bring at least 70 meters of chain. An unforgettable experience is watching the Stromboli volcano from the sea at night, with its lava flow and the ever-visible plume, something we tried to do twice, but in our case, Ito had something else in store for us. I recommend planning your visit to coincide with the full moon because you won't regret it. Channels, small islands, and lots of relatives, at least in my case. Part of my family actually comes from here, so I can say that some of my roots are here. Chioggia and Venice are definitely not famous for their crystal clear sea, but there's much more to do here than just swimming. The first thing to know is that in the lagoon, there are only navigable channels. Autopilot is strictly forbidden. So, what do you do in the lagoon? It's very simple. You visit all the navigable canals of Venice, passing by iconic locations like San Marco, the Arsenale, and many other places that the whole world envies us for. And then you can stop at the marina in Chioggia or San Elena, for example, and from there set off to explore the inner canals, stop, visit the towns, and then have a sachetto right in front of the Squero, the historic gondola workshop. What do you think? A trip that would cost thousands of euros, almost free for us lucky boaters. The Venice Lagoon is a destination I recommend if you're looking for something different from the open sea, but that still lets you explore an extraordinary landscape. It's an ideal place for those who love culture and history, but you need to be prepared to sail in a more crowded and touristy environment compared to other destinations. The beauty of Venice seen from the sea is truly something unforgettable. We're filming a documentary in Costa Viola, and that's where we'll end up, a wonderful place. The boat isn't at anchor, but on a mooring buoy in Silla, which is a town you absolutely have to visit, or in the small port of Palmi, where there's a family atmosphere and the barbecue is always going. An incredible discovery. After finishing filming the documentary, we decide to head towards the Costa degli, a place we've never seen, neither from land nor from the sea. The water here is incredibly clear, among the best in Italy. The place I fell in love with right away was Capo Vaticano. The water is amazing. There are hidden sandy coves, so much so that we found one and named it the Family Beach. Watch out, because coming in from above there are a couple of unmarked rocks just below the surface. Remember to check the plotter. From here, we headed towards Riassi, which has a system of caves, tunnels, and rocks near the beach where swimming is truly a pleasure. The port of Tropea offers various services, including a fuel station. A special mention goes to Scalia and its Dino Island, where you can still see the ultra-luxurious village of Loyer Agnelli, and where we had fun exploring the island both by tender and on foot, thanks to our friends from Praia Amer who took us to beaches and caves that would otherwise remain hidden. Calabria is a perfect destination for those seeking spectacular sea, tranquility, and unspoiled nature. Compared to other more famous locations, here you can feel a more relaxed and authentic atmosphere. However, you need to be careful with the winds and the swell in some anchorages, especially with the Mistral, because there is practically no shelter. Be especially careful with the west as well. When we set out, determined to live on a boat for a couple of years, our destination was Greece, and Puglia was just supposed to be a simple stop along our journey. We arrived on January 16, 2018, and we left about 3 months later, so much for a short stop. I'm talking to you about Puglia in the winter. Our first stop was Vieste. Pizzamono is an unmissable trip. From there, we went to Trani, guests of the Liga Naval, a small marina and a town just waiting to be explored. In Bari, we stayed for a whole month and explored everything, starting from its old port, the Basilica of St. Nicholas, Bari Vecchia, and Cosimo's giant Panzerotti. A beautiful, lively, colorful city, full of friendships that still last to this day. After Bari, we stopped in Monopoli with its monies in the Alley of the Wind, and then on to Brindisi, guests at the Aprodo dell'Indy, a truly beautiful marina at the far end of Brindisi's port. Here, there are so many things to do, too many to list them all. If Elba is our home, then Puglia is definitely our home by the sea. Everything is wonderful, the places, the food, but above all, the friendships. The only downside of the Adriatic side of Puglia is the lack of anchorages, and almost all of them are exposed to wind and currents. So in Puglia, you dock in a port or a marina. Besides being a wonder, Puglia is just a stone's throw from Greece, which is something not to be underestimated. Maybe the next video will be all about Greece. Puglia is one of the most diverse and spectacular destinations for sailors when it comes to scenery and views. The Tremiti Islands are a real gem for those looking for diving spots and incredibly clear waters. I remember that as we were passing through, we lost the depth reading and it was showing me 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters, all while we were out in the middle of the sea and right after a tuna had slammed into the boat. So I took the device apart and put it back together a couple of times, and then, following my father's suggestion, I realized that the depth was actually greater than the range of the signal. But man, did we get scared? Be careful about the weather conditions, because as I already mentioned, many areas offer little shelter in case of strong winds. Yeah, I said 5 locations, but actually, I have one that's really my favorite spot. Palinuro, and specifically the Baia del Buon Camino. I spent my childhood here in Marina di Camerota, and the first time I dropped anchor next to Isola del Coniglio, I was so happy. It's one of the rare shelters from the Mistral wind, an incredibly charming anchorage on sand, caves, crystal clear water, white beaches, and the best part is that in the evening, almost everyone leaves. And if all this isn't enough, pop over to the riding stables and enjoy the view from above. Are we done? No! I want to add one more, Capo Testa in Sardinia, but I'll talk to you about this in another video. As you've seen, each location offers a unique experience, and these 5, or rather 6 destinations, in my opinion, offer the very best when it comes to breathtaking scenery, crystal clear waters, hospitality, and dreamlike coves. Of course, the choice of destination always depends on the type of sailing you prefer. Are you more into wild bays like us, secluded anchorages, or do you prefer well-equipped ports and lively towns? Whatever your idea of the perfect trip is, in Italy you'll always find a stretch of sea that seems tailor-made for you. If you've already visited one of these destinations, tell us about your experience in the comments, and if you have another must-see spot to suggest, let us know. The sea is vast, and every tip is valuable. Until the next adventure, and as always, fair winds, not too little, not too much, but just right.